So why this networking architecture is very important in a plant? So we come across the various subjects in our books, in our theories about the sensors, about the power equipment, power components, about these electron devices, and so on. So mostly we are interested to know more about these equipments and components which are actually present in the products, or which are necessary for an industrial network. But what happens if you do not have a proper network architecture in a plant? Obviously, it is going to trouble your plant operations, and it will end up with errors, loss of productivity, and also there are some safety concerns. So it's the duty of the particular automation engineer, or he can be an instrumentation engineer. It varies from plant to plant. You can be called as automation engineer, or can be as instrumentation engineer in a plant. Sometimes you can be called as electrical engineer to take care of both instrumentation and electrical. So it's up to the particular plant to appoint you as a electrical or instrumentation engineer in their specific domains. This is how it is. So you have to take care of a powerful and seamless, redundant, error-free network communication for all the components in the process. So that's very important to do this thing. Okay. Before stepping into this, I hope there are students of third year and final year also there, and we will have first year and second year as well, I guess. Okay. So to those who are aware of what is automation, what is PLC and SCADA, this is fine. Others you can just listen to it. So why we are stepping into automation? Why the whole world is stepping into automation? Because there is a process which has a repeated set of applications. You are going to manufacture the same product, or you are going to produce similar characteristics chemical component, for example, a paint or a cement. The paint should have the chemical characteristics, uniform manner, uniform ratio. The added agents should be of similar ratio. So manually, if you do this, you cannot achieve it, right? So that's why the whole world is stepping into automation. It has started with the relay concept, and now it is with the PLCs, and even more advanced. They are also doing with these MATLAB programming stuff like that, especially in automobile industry. So this will obviously going to increase your productivity, your optimum cost of operation. It is going to reduce your routine checks. You will have a good level of safety. Your product quality also is going to improve. So there are even more benefits when you're using an automation system in our plant. So that's why these manual stuffs are fading away, and the industry is more interested in using even more advanced automation products. Okay, so when you take about industrial automation architecture, so there are some levels of automation thing in a plant. So we have a field level thing where we can see all those sensors, motors, machines, all those stuffs. Then the control level is your PLC systems, your CNC cutting machines. These are just example, your robots. So any batch applications, all those things are in the control level, where we are actually doing programs inside. Okay, so supervising and production level is your DCS system or the SCADA system, where the operator sits and operating the plant. And you have the information level where you are collecting the today process data, and also you can call it as a management level supervision. So they are not actually engaged in operation of this plant, but they will continuously monitoring the process data and you know day-to-day records and reports. Sometimes they keep sending the information to the pollution control. So all these steps are being done in information level. Okay, the same is been shown here. So the enterprise level is the information level. The plant office network control level is your SCADA and this thing. Cell level.
Sir, sorry
I,
to interrupt.
yeah.
Sir, your PPT is not visible, sir. Your desktop screen is being shared.
For how long?
So for 2 minutes.
You are not able to see my screen.
Yeah, I can see your only desktop, not your PPT, sir. It's like basic images, static images displaying.
I'll just disconnect.
Okay. Yes, now it's visible, sir.
Okay. So just I've gone through some 3 or 4 slides, just an introduction and whatever I have just. You can just have a look at this architecture. So you have the field level, the control level, supervision level, and we have the sensors components, the field level, then control level, you have the PLC. Supervision level is SCADA and ECS applications where the operator sits in operating plant. Information policy is the area where they collect the plant data, plant day-to-day operational reports. Sometimes they continuously send to the pollution control. This is the slide we have actually discussed before. So the same thing was discussed. You have the controllers in the cell level, you have the sensors and motors in the sensor level, and control and plant level, and you have enterprise level. So the same thing is given. Just quickly move over it. Okay. So getting back to this architecture. Okay, how we are establishing the communication. So it's always important to any engineer, not only the instrumentation engineer, any engineer to know about the computer networks, something about these firewall systems, routers, how to manage a switch, and how are we communicating or connecting different types of cables, which is actually needed for our network. Mostly, it is dealing with Ethernet cables. And apart from that, there are some protocol-specific applications which the manufacturer is exclusively developing some cables like Profibus, you have ControlNet, some Modbus, some cables like HART. So a lot of other protocols which are patented by specific manufacturers, and they supply some good products, good models in compliance with those kind of protocols. So it's our thing to select the protocol, right protocol for our plant operation, as well as you have to also think it should be easy for any future engineer who are going to join after you. He can be able to read or even plant management has to access easily. So that's why it's very important to do this selection of components while doing or while developing a project. So when you are dealing with, suppose when you're working in a plant, you have to be very careful and discussing in dealing with the vendors, or when you are a vendor or a you have to be keen to get in touch with the client, or you have to suggest. So this is not the right product. You go with this. It will be easy for your people to understand the programming even. So that's how the system works. So it's always a better practice to do the selection of components in right manner. Okay. So this is just a simple system thing in a plant. I have the PLC. All these are the computers, the IO panels. All these are communicated to the SCADA computers. So in between the PLC and the SCADA system, you have the Ethernet, and between the PLC and the IO panels, you have the control network. So this is just an example. Okay. Okay. So I'm just trying to establish a network thing in the plant. Okay. So I have something like a shed or a godown where you stock the material. It is also called a stacking system. You have the local panel. So with type of local panel, there is a touch piece. You are sometimes operating this stacking. There is another process which is having this PLC systems locally. You are going to operate there. So you have to bring that communication to the server, which is always present in the CCR. CCR is the central control room of a plant. Here in the heart of the plant, where all the main servers, PLCs, your operator, your production office will be there. So every communication in other parts of the plant, there are certain plants which is even with the dia of 10 kilometers, 20 kilometers. So you cannot, communicate with just Ethernet cable. So for that, you have to go even, you have to think even advanced. Okay. So this is architecture. So brought all these controllers, field this is your operator stations to the server. And what else? You have dual servers. Why? It is just for the redundancy. If one server fails, then another server will take over action. So most of the plant will have this dual setup configuration. It is also called as redundant system. Okay. So once I have brought all these controllers to the same network and the clients, this is one section. Then I have these local stations communicated. Then another section. Then another section. Then I'm integrating all these sections to a single workplace network. Then I'm also integrating this management system communication. So that's how it is. This is one of the typical network architecture that we are following in a project. So usually our projects will be like this. So sometimes you may be vague subject. Otherwise, you have to know about what is happening there. Okay. So yes, the black portion, the black object is at the center is the Ethernet switch. It is a manageable switch. You can manage even single port. And I'm in two cables, orange one and the blue one for each switch. And I will keep one cable, one loop cable between switch to to ensure redundancy. If one switch fails with the help of this branch cable, the network will still be active. So this is typical redundant communication. I have all the clients at the top. Okay, then some local stations, engineering station, operating station, even servers will be there. Servers will be mostly in the separate room. And the PLCs, again, I'm taking two cables, one orange and one blue to the switch. And this is for redundancy. So each department, this PLC will take care of the control. These are the IO panels, and these are the field equipments. Nowadays, not with just the help of cable, most of the sensors, most of the field equipments, motors, drives, VFDs are coming with Ethernet. So Ethernet, Profibus, Modbus things. So the importance of networking has become even more important than before. So obviously it is an obvious thing that you have to know about this networking concepts, application concepts. What is the speed of the cable? How feasible is the cable? How it is going to help the robust environment in a plant? Mostly the plant will be of dust, heat, spillage, excessive things, chemical hazards. So whether our components are going to withstand this extreme environment. So these factors are helping you to select the right component for you. So in future, yeah, as an emerging instrumentation engineer in future, you are going to deal with advanced sensor technology and advanced protocols, not with just cables like before. Okay, so be prepared with those stuffs, with those communication. Mostly, just in your free time, just go through this protocol. The recent protocols and that will be helpful. And a step ahead of this, we are nowadays dealing with wireless systems. Okay, just I'll give a small glimpse about these protocols. We are not going to deal more protocols in future because the industry is setting up the Ethernet concept. Most of the products we will get in Ethernet. So Profibus and Profinet, this is very famous protocol, which is widely used by most companies. This is owned by Siemens, and Modbus, this is owned by Schneider. Ethernet is owned by US Army, and again it has moved to DARPA. There is some history on Ethernet and its IP address. Okay. So RS-232 is your serial interface. Control unit is owned by Rockwell Automation. Foundation, Fieldbus, and HART protocols. So these are the protocols which are widely used in PLC systems for the past 30, 40 years. I think Mr. Tony has some. This. Tony, I could see you have raised your hands for something. Please. Kaushik, could you help? Could you help him to reach me? Actually.
Yes, sir. I will. I am trying, sir.
Okay. So meanwhile, I'll just go through the session.
Sure, sir.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. I'm just taking care of the most widely used protocol, which is Ethernet. Sometimes a few glimpses about this Profibus. Okay. So Ethernet, how to crimp Ethernet? It's very simple. You don't have to wait for the technician to crimp the Ethernet cables, because most of the time, when there is a trouble, mostly this occurs in the nights. Okay. Your management wants this to happen immediately, wants a productivity, wants production to start, because that may be a pressure in marketing or special, the pressure in demand. The management always wants you to start the stopped operation immediately. So for that, you have to maintain enough spares for each equipment, each component in your panels, in your field devices, sensors. Then also you have to keep enough spares on your cables, or if the cable is cut, mostly the cable will be cut by rats in your plant. Okay. When your area is not clean, these rats will bite the Ethernet cables. So immediately what happens, your communication drops. Then you have to go there and communicate. You should not wait for the technician to come there and crimp the cable. So there are two types of connections: straight connection and crossover connection. So when you are communicating between a computer to another computer, then you need a straight cable. This is fine. When you are communicating a computer to a printer, you need a crossover cable. So like this is an example, but only these two types of cabling concept will be used. Nowadays, your adapter will be, allowing both type of protocols. It is it's auto enabling the straight through or crossover. So these adapters are coming with dual functionality, so you don't have to worry about that. But if there is a specific need of crossover connection, then you need to take out this. So you have white green, green, then white orange, blue, white blue, orange, white brown, brown. So this is how the cable, the cores inside the Ethernet. So accordingly, you insert the particular core in the adapter and crimp it. So this is a crimping tool. So there are some procedures. Just put the adapter head and press. It is going to, firmly fix inside the adapter. Okay, so this is a Profibus. So at least for 10 years from now, you are going to use this Profibus protocol. You have also this Profinet network. Profinet is also again owned by Siemens. So this is very important protocol you have to understand. Before getting into this, I need to say something about Ethernet. The speed of Ethernet is even in terms of gigabytes now, but again, it's once again depends on the type of source and destination component using. If your source is not able to communicate a gigabyte, there is no use in using a gigabyte cable. So it is a component specific. Okay. The same thing with this Ethernet will always be used for distances up to 120 meters. That's it. But your plant will have huge distance, right? Sometimes you have the field process, from 3 kilometers away from CCR, so you cannot use it. This Profibus can travel up to 1 kilometer, 1,000 meters, for example. So we all aware that the speed reduces with length, right? Because there is a resistance in the cable. The same thing, when the speed increases, your transmission data will be reduced. Transmission speed will be reduced. The maximum speed that Ethernet can handle is 1 gigabyte, but Profibus can handle close to 15 Mbps. Okay. So if you are at a distance 1000 meter, your speed will be just 30 kbps, not 15 Mbps. If you're at 100 meters, then you will have 15 Mbps. 200 meters, yes, 12 Mbps. 500 meters, 5 Mbps. So the speed reduces with length. So you have to calculate the distance before ordering for these cables your okay. So this is the typical Siemens and Allen Bradley PLCs. So you have the Ethernet port over here. This is the PLC. If you open this front door, you will have the Ethernet port inside. There you can connect the Ethernet port and connect the other side of Ethernet port to the switch. And this is Siemens PLC. This front door you can just open, and you will find a Profibus port, a Profinet port. So this cable, you will have something like this. So this Profibus female will be in the Siemens front door. This male will be connected there. And you will also have one Ethernet. Okay. This is control net owned by Rockwell Automation. You can also call it as Allen Bradley. You must have something like this in your lab, Allen Bradley and Siemens fields, I hope. Some fiber. Okay. These protocols are there. Okay. What is the distance of control net? Again, this is going to be 1 kilometer. And I have to communicate to see which is at 5 kilometer distance from here, which is at 10 kilometers distance from here. What should I do? Yes, I need optical fiber. Okay, so because you cannot travel for long distance with the help of these conventional cables, so obviously you have to opt this optical fiber thing, which can travel at the speed of light, which can transmit even thousands of signals at a time. Okay, so there are only two types of optical fiber cable. Single mode and multi mode. You should have gone through these subjects. A multi mode cable is used for a multi mode cable is used for long distances. Can transmit even more signal. A single mode fiber is used for short distances. What happens? Short distance, single mode fiber can transmit even signals with more accuracy than multi mode. So there are a lot of differences between that. Your multi mode fiber will have a core of size more than what you have in single mode fiber. Okay. These are number of types of connectors you are using in your optical fiber. These are called as patch cards. These patch cards, so I'll slightly move forward. Okay. Suppose this PLC is in some distance. Okay. Say 5 kilometers. I cannot run an Ethernet cable like this. So what happens? I have to use one media converter in between, which converts the Ethernet to light signal, and at the other side, at the receiving side, I have to use one more Ethernet media converter, which converts again light to Ethernet. Okay, so in between I have to lay some optical fiber cable. This optical fiber can be connected with the help of a technical splicing. Splicing is just heating the glass pieces inside the optical fiber, heating the glass cores one to the other with some high accuracy. There are some equipments which can splice and read the accuracy of the joint, because your joint should be more or less than 5% loss. Okay, you should not go below the 5% loss. 95% it should be accurate to receive the best possible data from source to end. So this, if you have time, just to go to Google and find the information. But what is splicing and what are the equipments you are used for this splicing? Okay. So I have done all this fiber optic, Profibus, Ethernet cable communications, and my field like this. My sensors, these are the Profibus cables, and I have the coupler inside. And this coupler will link the cables to the master, Profibus master, and to the PLCs. In your SCADA, I have Modbus. Sometimes you have the Ethernet. It depends on protocol to protocol. That's this every protocol will have a master which will collect all the data from the field and send it to the PLC. This concept applies to every model and every manufacturer. A PLC cannot read on data directly from the device. It has to go through the backplane via any master, the supporting master of the particular field. And in case of motors, in case of motors, you have smart motors nowadays. So not only with the help of cables, you can also start and stop your motors with the help of a single cable, which is a Profibus with Ethernet. With the help of one Ethernet cable, you can operate a feeder, even a big motors. Okay, so that is called as smart feeders. Nowadays, in place of MCCs, you have the smart MCCs. So you also might have seen in your college, a typical MCC feeder will be like this. Each feeder compartment will have one motor connected, one, for example, light, your plant, your college, water tank, your street lights, your generator equipment, then your pumps, some electrical motors in labs. So you need to have these kind of feeders for protection of the equipment. So for that feeder, you have this smart concept where I will lay only one cable from here. I will internally loop all the compartments, and finally I will close the cable. So I don't have to lay single cable from the PLC to start and stop. So with the help of one cable and with the help of this, I can start the motors. Okay. So these are the summary of equipment need: the switches, routers, firewall, computers, wireless equipments, media converters that we talked about, converting this fiber optic to Ethernet, right? So OLM model is used for converting this Profibus to Ethernet. Fiber optic to Ethernet, Profibus. And some GPS and GPS. These are the latest advancement in industrial automation, where you can, you don't have to keep a sensor to know the position, but instead of that, for all the moving equipments, you just keep one GPS sensor. It will always give you the right coordinates. From there, with the help of that coordinates, you can decide where the equipment is located. Okay, our server rack will be like this. So in the CCR, I'll keep the computer, the servers, rack mountable servers like this. Sometimes I keep the Ethernet switches and connect all the things. This is the PLC rack. You have the PLC models, IO models, UPS unit for power failure. Then you have some relays, 3G GPRS modem for internet. So if someone wants to access through app, then the live data will be passed through this 3G GPRS modem to your application. Okay. This is a PLC and IO rack, where you have dedicated panel of PLC panels. Then your IO communication at the right or left side. This is the network panel. So these are the Ethernet cables. The one in blue will take the cables from each PLC, each computer, and integrate all the systems in a single network rack. And these are some local network racks where some multiple equipments in local area, and you are communicating all these things over here and bringing out only one cable to this network. So that's how it is. Optical link model, any bus converters. These are the industrial switches. Routers, media converters. I've told you. Convert fiber to Ethernet, and you have wireless sensors. So just you have the local gateway. There are this is the latest advancement which can be used mostly in the indoor applications, not outdoor, because you will have a lot of hindrances outside. Your communication may get dropped. This is always helpful in terms of indoor manufacturing process like batch assemblies, line assemblies. Okay. Some robots communicated to the thing wirelessly. All right, so I think I have done something with the allotted time. It's time for questions. You can ask. Any questions? Please.
Sir, I have one question, sir.
Your good name, please.
Kaushik, sir.
Yeah. Okay.
Since we are having so much of switches and Ethernet cables, and if you find any transmission not getting, you are not getting any value from particular sensor, how will you identify the fault, or what is the procedure you are follow to identify the location of the fault?
That's a very good question. It's easy for instrumentation engineer to troubleshoot the sensor. If the sensor not working properly, you just remove the sensor and take some sensor from the spare and you just connect it. If computer fails, you have to format the PC, install the operating system, or you change the computer. It's easy. But what happens if there is a problem in network? It's a good question. It is always a big headache for us to troubleshoot the network problem. The best practice is you just forecast. Okay, I'm going to establish a new network in my plant. I should not end up in any trouble in future. Say after 6 months, I should not end up in any. Okay, my plan. What is my plan? I segregate all the things. Cable 1 to 2, mark the cable numbers, one source to destination. The cable numbers, this area and this area. So point number 1, your tagging for the cable is done. If it is done, then you can easily find what is in which area the problem is. Okay. Point number 2. Okay, I have done all this planning. All happened. Okay. Again, this problem has happened. How can I know? Yes, there are some tools to identify network problems. Okay. So with the help of the tool, like IP scan, a lot of small tools are there. Some freewares are there. Install in your computer. Run the IP scan, and it will pop up with data, the inflow and outflow of data between equipments. So with the help of that, you can find out that where the data is absent. In other cases, there are also some license application which will actually tell you which component is missing the data. Okay. So with the help of that, you can most of the network problem cases will be easily visible to us. How you do a program by taking the hardware. Every hardware have a PLC point. Okay. PLC point tells you the communication failure. Okay. Take that communication failure point, create a tag in your SCADA, and keep some red or green thing with the help of a button or something. Just keep at the right corner in your SCADA. When there is a failure, you will get a red alert, so that you will understand. Okay, something is wrong. What is the alert? You are already having it created for which model this red point is there, right? With the help of the tag, you can directly attack that point and directly attack that model. So this is also another procedure. Okay.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
That's a very good question. We have other guys questions can ask. very well asked me. Even the staffs also, that will be helpful for your students.
Any question from participants? Sir, shall we wind up, sir?
Yeah, your questions can be even of general stuff. It's fine. Out of box about with this.
Sir, I am Rukmani.
Harmony.
Sir. Hello, sir.
I'm hearing you. Yeah, please.
Sir, in terms of paper industry, which type of PLCs can be used, sir?
PLCs, there are, you can call it as control system, small control system, large control system, very large control system. So it's up to you to select the PLC which is for the particular brand. Okay. My question is just a reverse question to you. You are asking about the manufacturer or how it is?
Yeah, I'm asking the manufacturer, Siemens, like which is most preferably suitable for paper industry, because it is very accurate now, sir. We want to measure the thickness of the paper, and if the consistency of the bulb is varied.
Yeah. Okay. The most complicated process is petrochemical, okay? Oil and gas. That is the most complicated process, where you are dealing the operation in terms of milliseconds. So in that case, your PLC will not be useful. PLC in the sense, they will call it as a DCS, distributed control system. It is an integrated package of PLC and SCADA, and it's of large control system, the faster rate, and with more accuracy, and it's costly as well. You don't need a DC system for a paper industry. Okay? Comparatively, than oil and gas, paper industry is very, very small. Okay? So I'm not going to use the DCS for this in paper industry. Okay. So when you talk about paper, for PLC, any type of manufacturer, even a local manufacturer, can be used for paper industry, no issues. So you don't have to think about Siemens or Rockwell or Schneider. Even a low cost or a local brand can be used for a paper industry. No issues. All these are liquid process and dealing with some sort of solid products. So there is no huge application in a paper dealing with high pressure, gas leakage or of more hazards. When you are selecting fields, you always think about safety aspects. Process wise, you can take any kind of manufacturing. Safety wise, you have to go with some approved PLCs like Siemens, Allen Bradley, Schneider. So my answer is you can choose any PLC for paper industry.
Hi, can you hear me?
This is Aishu. Sir, can you hear me?
Yeah. If that is Aishwarya,
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
please.
Sir, actually, what is my question is that after this 4 years of engineering, when you go and work to the industry, definitely there will be some sort of, industrial gap. To fill it up, do you suggest any like going through any journals or magazines to keep ourselves updated with what exactly is the industry working on with the newer technology, sir? I mean, like you have joined to be an intern years back, and now you are being an assistant manager. This journey, definitely you could have, at some point, you could have found some gap between the college theoretical knowledge and the industrial. So, how did you fill that gap, sir? So, any suggestions for that?
It's always a good practice to read. Just watching a video or listening to someone that's not going to help you at a certain extent. So it's a good practice to read, as you mentioned, these magazines and journals. Or simple thing I will suggest you, whenever any topic comes to your mind, okay, most of our guys are not using the notes app in your mobile, right? Take the notes app, write your notes, save it. You don't have to save it, just it will be always keep saved if you just quit the application. Save it. When you have time, open the notes, take the hint and search in Google. Okay. So you don't have to buy a specific magazine or a journal for this study. Everything is available in Google, but it's your interest to keep a note in your. Just try to use the notes app effectively in your mobile. Not only your technical aspects, your personal aspect as well. It is going to be useful. Okay. So that's one thing. Regarding this gap between the knowledge we have. When you talk about the instrumentation or the automation system, the thing which I learned in my college or which I've come across in my college is just 2%. It's just 2% than what I'm doing right now. Okay. So that is just an introduction. Everything comes out of experience. So unless or until if you are dealing more into the topic, more into the subject practically, you are not going to gain even more. Okay. So you will end up only with the theoretical stuffs. You will not be a deserved. You will not going to be a deserved candidate when you are dealing with problems in science. So everything comes with experience. So you don't have to worry about that. Keep your theoretical knowledge stuffs handy and very strong when you're going for an interview. That's in an interview. The rest of the things you will gain through experience. No issues. You don't have to worry about that. Does it answer your question, Aishwarya?
Aishwarya, you can reply, ma.
Yes.
All right.
Just any magazines or any sort of journals which keeps on updating about all the, you have mentioned about the smart motors and so many sensors, all these stuff, sir, which industry being keeping updated so that, somewhere I can, like, before going into an industry and start my internship, I could well know what is exactly happening there.
I cannot mention the manufacturer or the magazine names, but I suggest you always Google it up to know the right information.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Basically, I just want to share one thing that more seriously about what is going to happen in your future or what you are studying exactly right now. Because few people, I'm also from the same background. I do understand that few people doesn't even aware about what is exactly they're studying. So do not think more about that. Just do your duty. Your duty is to study and clear the subjects what you are doing, but learn, understand, and write. Without learning, do not try to just mug it up and produce it out. It is not going to help you at any cost. Okay? If you are able to learn, understand, and do. Otherwise, do not do. Skip the subject. So that is my advice. If anything which is half baked, it will going, it is going to spoil your other knowledge as well. Every process is derived from another process. Every subject is dependent on another subject. Okay, your instrumentation is always dependent on civil in terms of liquid processes. You have to know the characteristics of liquids with their viscosity, their characteristics, chemicals. And what about mechanical? You need to know what is thermodynamics, the industrial plates inside. How I can keep a sensor mounted in a very big machine. You need to know the mechanical characteristics of the equipment. Yes. Then what about electrical? Yes. I need to know how a three-phase is being connected, how an induction motor running, how to stop taking more current. I need to know the electrical equipment. I need to know what is the PNP device, what is a MOSFET, what is transfet, what is a resistor, capacitor, I know. I want to know the communication, the thing which we discussed, computers and networks. So it's instrumentation is a combined package. You cannot skip even a single thing. Even your computer applications like Java or C++, some or the other day it is going to reflect in your subject. So when you're opening a SCADA faceplate, it is based on Visual Basic Script. It is based on Java, and the background is SQL database. You need to know the SQL. What is SQL and what is the SCADA base? What is the programming behind? So it's a combined package. Never skip any topic in instrumentation. It is going to be helpful at any point of time. Okay. Any questions? Any questions?
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you, Mr. Vasiraj, Assistant Manager, FL Smith Private Limited, India, for giving the nice talk on automation architecture in process plant. Really, it was a wonderful session. And also you have mentioned the importance of studying instrumentation, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Also, I thank the faculty members of the Department of Electronics and Instrumentation Engineering for organizing this seminar. And also my special thanks goes to Mr. S. Kausik, Assistant Professor of the department, for coordinating the entire process. Thank you, Kausik.
Thank you, sir.
Also, I thank all the participants who are participating in the 5 weeks webinar series on sensors and automation. Thank you all the participants, and we will meet you once again in the next week on the same time with the another resource person. Thank you all.
Thank you, Mr. Srinivasan. Students,
Thank you.
Don't think about your lecture more about this. There are a lot of opportunities in instrumentation. You can always come back
Yes.
to me and reach out to me on this course at any time. You can have my number.
Yeah, sure, sir.
Sure, sir.
We'll
Sure,
share
sir.
with the. We'll share.
Sure, sure, sir. Thank you. Thank you,
Please
sir.
take note of it.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Wonderful
Thank you,
day.
sir. Thank you so much. Thank you. Participants, kindly fill up the feedbacks. That's posted in your chat box. Feedback link.
you.